Hello everyone and welcome for a new Strategus video. Today I want to make an introduction video to something which will be part of bigger projects. Just to contextualize, I was reading around several platforms about newcomers complaining that there were not enough tips or video tutorials for beginners. And I quite agree with them, as on my own channel I just made two videos which are very short and miss a lot of details, a lot of explanations. So I wanted to start this new project which will be hopefully complete and quite big. So there will be several videos and the goal is to bring people from newcomers to intermediate level and maybe close to advanced expert level. More precisely, we will have first two videos just for newcomers. The first one, so this one, to explain how the platform we will be using, so Strategus, works, so you can get used to it. And the second one, which will really focus on how Stratego works as a game, what are the pieces, what is the board, and so on. So feel really free to skip those first two videos if you already know at least about these two things. The real tutorial will start from the third video on, and for fourth video we will focus on some aspects of the rules, really stick to them, understand them, and try to put the rules at our advantage to win a game. And these four videos are really for beginners, and at the end of those four videos I think people will, if they master these principles, will at least be intermediate level. So then we will have 7 videos for intermediate players. We will go far away from the rules and more about good habits, how to approach a game, good understanding of the game, and this should bring people to get advanced or expert level. And we will make a few more videos, I think 2 or 3, not decided yet, just to be a little bit over just an intermediate player, just an advanced player. And so you should be able at the end of this video, if you understood everything, if you apply everything correctly, you should be able to deal with the top players and hopefully win the games. Now, just a disclaimer, it may look arrogant that I want to make it because I'm nobody. I'm far from being the best player, far from having many years experience, I just have a few. So this is just my understanding of the game, my recommendations. Some other player may disagree, as always, that's just my view. It helped me to get decent results in some tournaments and in the rankings, so I think it's always good to always good tips to take. Of course, someone may be much more experienced and much more talented than me, so there are also limits to what I am teaching. This being said, let's focus now on the Strategus app. So I'm using this because I'm very comfortable for it, and I feel it has almost everything that one needs to play really good level Stratego. There are other platforms. This one is an unofficial platform, but still I think it's a very good one. So let's start with this interface. So when you register to Strategus, you will have to put an email address. This will send you a link. Maybe it goes into your spams, and then you can create an account. And when you Google strategus.appspot, you will have this this page, and we will go through all these buttons. So let's start with the button play. This brings us to our main interface. And the first thing I want you to check is the profile, so you can just see your nickname, you can put your country of residence, which is always nice, especially for tournaments, so people knows how the time zone difference is, and it's easier to schedule games. You can also put a profile picture here, and you will have some statistics appearing. We will go through them later on. You then have a mailbox if you want to message a specific opponent, a block if you want to block a specific player, and podium will go to it later on. You can see then player info, so you can decide to allow your games to be publicly played and your game to be spectated. That's totally up to you. From my perspective, allowing spectators is always good. Replaying, I can understand that some people don't allow it because people will just rebuild the setup, and that's not always the goal of allowing spectators for educative purpose. Then the second thing you need to check is the settings. I will be using these settings, so if you are a newcomer, I strongly recommend to use these settings so you will speak the same language as I do. The main one you need to use is the number from 10 to 1. This is the European system. If you are from the United States and used to play Stratego, you may be used to number 1 to S. So number 1 for you, for an American player, is the Marshal. For us in Europe, number 10 is the Marshal. The spy in Europe is number 1, while for American is the letter S. So I will be using the European system, which is the one mainly used also during live events. And I think it's more intuitive also from a personal point of view. But again, that's just my recommendation. For the piece set, when you start, it will be abstract on default. I think nobody is used to play with abstract piece sets. It's still a nice to have because it changes. I recommend to use classic because it's the one used in live tournaments. I know a lot of people like the modern ones. I personally loved Donato Giancola, but they are far less known. So just to make things easy for everyone, I will use the classic. So they are the very basic one. Colors, it's really up to you. Marker, piece shape, really how you prefer. That's not really important. For the board style, I recommend Village 2, so you have a lot of different possible boards with different names. It just depends about your eyes. I really like the winter one because it's white, but yeah, Village 2 is also a good one because it's the one which is used for live. So I really like this one. Then the other thing which is quite important is the graveyard. I personally like to have the captured pieces, so it will show all the pieces you have removed from the board. The other option is to keep all the pieces which are on the board. I feel it's distracting. I prefer to use the capture because when you play live, that's also what you do, right? You take a piece, you remove it from the board, so you put it in the graveyard, and that's much more easy to understand. So I will use capture. And all this you can do as you wish. Right, then we have this interface, so games. We have divided in 4 sections. We have the open for play, so these are people who are willing to play a game, so we could click on it and join a specific game. Settings up, people who are about to start a game, they are making a setup. Now playing, people who are playing. We can see that there are 2 tournament games ongoing, some ranked, some casual. And then games which finished, so you can see the result. W is a win, L is a loss, and then you have D for draw. And sometimes you have F for forfeit. This symbol here is quite useful. It means that people allows spectators, so we could click on it and decide to watch the game. On this case, the game is finished, so it doesn't mean that people is allowing to spectate, but it means that replay is allowed. So in this case, we could watch the game, replay it, and we have this nice interface, so we can see the 2 players, and we can, for example, click on next, and we see move per move what happens, and we can have fun replaying the game. All the known pieces stay revealed, so it's also easier to follow, and as I said, pieces which were captured appear here on the graveyard. You can also decide to click on play, so it goes automatically, I don't have to press anything, and you can also enjoy changing the speed, so for 2 or even for 3, so it goes extremely fast, it's harder to follow. Right, you can stop, then come back to initial, or go to the final situation, so really up to you to do anything you want. Right, this is almost everything. You have the mailbox, so a profile, you can click on the mailbox to message opponents, and when someone replies to you, you have this blue button, you can just click on it. I won't do it now, but you can answer your opponent and have a nice chat. What else? That's almost it. When we want to start a game, so we can click on a new game, and here we have several settings. So let's start with the variant. There are more Stratego variants. The main one is classic because you play with 40 pieces against 40 other pieces. But we have these three other variants which are less known but still really fun to play. So the barrage is the 8 pieces game mode, the duel is 10 pieces game mode, and the free is something extremely useful when both players can choose which pieces they want to put. And it's useful to replay some endgames. So it's a good one, not often really used, but very good. The first one has a ranking, so you can get some points if you win, some or lose some points if you lose. The other three don't have a ranking yet. I don't think it's really useful for free because it doesn't make sense, but I'm still insisting since some month now to get barrage and duel ranking and barrage and duel tournament ranking as well. I hope this will be implemented because at the moment, you know, when you play but you don't get any reward if you win or if you lose, it's not motivating to play. So I hope sooner or later this will be implemented and give a fresh start to this game mode because they really deserve it. At the World Championship, for example, Barrage is the tournament of the first day. Then you have a lot of clock settings, so you can have the regular one, fast, slow, extended. I know that a lot of young people really love the fast one as they don't like to think too much but just go really fast. I just go for the regular. Some people like the extending, it's quite rare to find it, but it's good if you don't want to worry about the clock, just focus on the game. We then have to choose this, so we can decide to play classic but without rank, so it would be the same as playing a barrage because you just don't win anything, just with 40 pieces. Ranked means we will have points if we win or lose points if we lose. Match elo rate is something we can tick if we want to have people which have almost the same number of points as we do. So just to be against someone more or less of our same level. I personally don't mind because I really like to play any kind of player, especially since in a tournament you don't decide who you play against. So I think there is a lot to learn from weak and from strong players. Incognito means that you don't know your opponent, who your opponent is during the game. So that's, for example, what we see here with this question mark symbol. So when playing, two players don't know who they are facing, and the name of your opponent is just revealed at the end. It's really useful if you don't want to play someone who will base his style because it's you, but just focus on the game and not on who you are playing. Private is just to make private games, so you agree with a friend. And memory helpers is useful, extremely useful for newcomers, beginners. If you don't want to focus much on memory, but just on the game, so you don't forget anything because all pieces which are known will stay revealed. That's almost it. We can also see the number of players online, and that's it for this main page. We can then click here on the upper left corner, and we have this menu with all the buttons we were mentioning before. So on the studio, we can replay our games. So as I was showing before with the game which is public replay, here I can see all the games I played, and either that it was allowed to have public replay or not, you can replay any game you have played. So it's quite a good thing, especially if you want to see mistakes you may have done, especially when, like me, you have very bad evenings where you only lose all your games. Right, then you have the workshop. Workshop is a tool we will be using in many of the tutorials, especially to solve some situations together. So it allows us to put pieces at specific places. So let's say we put here, and we put the general here, and we can just move them. So clear. So yeah, so just remove everything. Um, we can rotate the view. Okay. We can swap turns. We can undo a specific move. So for example, if I click on this, now I can on this I can undo the move. And we can also draw. So if we want to make some symbols, we can. It can be useful. Yeah, almost everything. We can also have fun in export or import a specific scenario. And if we click, we also can focus on several squares, so we can color them as we wish. So extremely useful tool. We then have the ranking. So as I was saying, when you play classic game mode, you can choose to have ranked and win points. So you can see the best players here, and we can see almost all the players. You can order them instead of position by name, by flag, by score, or any statistics. So that can be extremely good thing to do. We have also the incognito ranking, which is for all the games played in incognito, and the all-time high ranking, which is as a record. What I personally like from the ranking is also the daily result and highlights. It gives some statistics that we have had. So we have the most active player, the comebacks, the newcomers, and some other quite cool statistics, I think, to watch. We have also all the results of all games played in the last 24 hours, so you can see there are many games, so the site is pretty much active from my perspective. Just linked with the main page, by the way, you can also, under profile, click on game stats, and you will see all your results against all the opponents you've played, and you can click on a specific opponent and see all the games and replay your games also from here. You have also the average of moves and the elo you won or lost. Right. Then we have the podium. Podium page is about tournaments, so we can see the current tournaments, as I mentioned in a previous video. The league is running currently, so you can click on it and see all the results. I won't go through it now. We have the history, so these are all the tournaments which have been played, and you can see the top 3 for every tournament. And again, if you click on a tournament, you have all the details about that tournament. Finally, under ranking, you can see the tournament ranking online on Strategus, and all the badges of people is appearing here, so it's a different ranking than the classic ranking. Also nice thing to have. Finally, we have the community, so this is recommending some Discord server or YouTube channels. You may recognize some of the YouTubers if you are interested in Stratego. I definitely recommend Fairway, as is probably the most famous YouTuber. He shared a lot of games with his reasoning while playing, so extremely good one. And yeah, so you have a range of YouTuber you can watch. Finally, we have the About page, so this just explains the rules, and make sure before watching the next video to read this before, so you have a good understanding of how the game works, but of course I will be repeating each of these phases in the next video, just to make sure that all the newcomers you are ready to play a Stratego game. Right. I think I almost said everything about the sites and about the program of tutorial, so I hope you enjoyed the video. Please let me know if you have any comments or suggestions, and we will see each other for the next video for newcomers. Thank you so much for joining, and see you soon.